Am I the jerk for keeping asking the girl I'm seeing about her name tattoo? So I'm 27M, dating this girl, 24F, for about a month now, and the last time we got together I noticed she has a very small tattoo on the back of her neck. I had never seen it before because it's covered by her hair. Now here's the weirdest thing, she has my name tattooed. So obviously the first thing I thought was that she made a tattoo after me, which would be insane given we're only going out for a few weeks and this is still a casual relationship. But she told me that is not about me, it's about someone else that has the same name, just a coincidence. I looked closer and noticed the tattoo seems old and faded, so it definitely wasn't done recently. Either way, I was obviously intrigued, so I asked, "Is someone in your family?" And she just said, "No," and didn't provide any additional information. So it was clear she didn't want to tell me who this person is or was, but now there's suddenly this missing piece of information about her and I simply can't let this go. So I kept asking her, was it a friend? Was it an ex, until she lost her patience and told me it's none of my business. Am I the jerk for pushing her to tell me who it was? Also worth saying, she has no other tattoos besides this one, so it seems even more meaningful. Am I the jerk for telling my 6-year-old that Santa isn't real? I, 39M, was watching the movie Elf with my wife, 32, and 6-year-old daughter. We reached the scene where the elves are working on Santa's sled to make it fly because not enough people believe in Santa. My daughter latches on to this and just keeps asking, "Is Santa real?" Her mother said yes, but my daughter kept asking me as well. I said, "Santa is a great idea and a lot of fun, but no, he is not real." For some context, I love Christmas, but I didn't get to celebrate Christmas until I had a family of my own. I was raised in a family whose religion prohibited Christmas. I couldn't wait to get out and experience all the moments I missed. So we do Christmas as big as we can. All the stereotypical traditions. And for the past 5 Christmases I've passively went along with the Santa idea with my daughter, even though I told my wife that I didn't like lying to her, and I didn't see the point in lying about something that would eventually come out no matter what. I also told my wife that I wouldn't lie if I was ever asked. Well, the moment finally came. She asked me and I said he wasn't real. At first my daughter was fine. My wife gave her some long explanation as to why she is lucky we get her presents. My daughter didn't really like this explanation and was upset. We both told her that some parents work really hard to convince their kids that Santa exists, and that she shouldn't try to convince kids otherwise. My wife definitely felt like I should have lied. Eventually my wife asked my daughter if learning that Santa wasn't real changed how she feels about Christmas, and my daughter said kinda. My wife thinks I should have lied, that kids believing in Santa is harmless, and that I can't relate to Christmas from a child's perspective because I didn't have those experiences. I think we played along with a tradition for as long as we could, but when my daughter directly asked me, the truth was the better option. I can't really walk this one back, and we all will have a good holiday, but am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for telling my parents it's not my job to provide for my siblings when they cannot? I, 20F, am the oldest of 4 and I do not live with my parents anymore. Our relationship is not good either. One of the biggest reasons is my parents flipped the script with my siblings when it came to gifts for Christmas and birthdays. My siblings are 16, 14, and 11, so 4 years between me and their next kid. I know it's a bigger gap than say 2 years, but it's not huge either. Yet they parented them so differently and spoiled them. For me, gifts were needs and not wants, and I was told I should be appreciative of having food in my belly, a roof over my head, and clothes on my back. If I asked for something I wanted, they would tell me I didn't need it. I didn't need a doll, I didn't need art supplies, I didn't need a toy kitchen. They never ever said that to my siblings. They would get dolls, action figures, bikes, trampolines, paint sets, jewelry kits, all kinds of fun toys. They also got cell phones and tablets when they got older. I normally got clothes. Sometimes I would get cheap as basic hygiene products, body wash and stuff. My parents made it a huge point to nip it in the bud when I was upset with my underwhelming gifts. Especially when my siblings came along. They told me they were babies, they were little, etc. But that energy was never there for me. I do resent it. Yeah, I had all the basics, but my siblings had so much more than that. My siblings are also very spoiled and entitled because of it. My sister, 16, used to bug me and get frustrated with me for not having nice stuff she could borrow. She asked me once what was the point in having a sister if she couldn't raid my closet. I told her it wasn't my fault our parents didn't buy me nice shit like her. She laughed and told me that's what being the oldest means. My brothers would tell me to buy them stuff and say they got pocket money, so I did too. I never got pocket money. When I explained that I didn't, it would end with them saying I was a baby. I moved out of my parents' house and in with my aunts. I stayed with them for several months when I started college, and now I share an apartment with some friends while we all attend college. I also work. My parents have fallen on hard times now, and right before Christmas, they told me they didn't have the money to get my siblings what they want for Christmas and told me I needed to let them borrow money or buy the gifts on their behalf and they would pay me back. I told them it's not my job to provide for my siblings when they cannot. They argued that my siblings would be disappointed to get nothing from their wish lists. I told them they don't need nice gifts, they only need clothes and food and a roof over their heads, and they have all that. My parents said I'm a terrible big sister. Am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for locking up my romance novels so my husband can't throw them away? I love romance. To be clear, I don't enjoy self-inserts or wish fulfillment romance where I'm the target. I love reading about two individuals falling in love and the idea of eternal love. I read a lot of romance books. I also enjoy josei manga, webtoons, comics, and short stories. My husband recently started having an issue with my romance items. He says they are in the way. I keep my books on one bookshelf. I have my own iPad, though I prefer physical books. I have my own library card and account. I do my half of the chores, pay my half of the bills, and do my part around the house. The romance books are not affecting his life in any way. But he hates them. He made a comment about throwing them out and having a fresh start. So, I bought a small cabinet/dresser with a lock on it from Amazon and locked up all of my novels. My husband tried opening the door of one and found out it was locked. Now he is upset and guilt-tripping me, saying that I don't trust him and that I care more about my romance novels than him. Am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for asking my GF to stop writing gay fanfic about me? Hey, I'm 19M and my GF, 18F. We've been dating for about 2.5 years now. All going smooth until a few days ago. She texted me a link to a Wattpad page and I opened it and I was shown her entire page. She had so much fanfic in there I was blown away. I was bombarded and then I read one because it had my name, then I started to get uncomfortable. She used my full name in the story and described me down to a T. My GF is also a huge K-pop fan and it was a homosexual fanfic about me and said K-pop member. Just reading it had me feeling kind of sick. She went into great detail and it had an entire 7-part series about it. I decided to call it quits and closed out of the tab. It had a couple views behind it too. So after like 30 minutes I text her, hey, I saw what you wrote about me, could you please stop that or at the very least not post it publicly? And she wasn't having it. She blew up at me saying how I shouldn't care, I'm insecure and a bunch of other things. I tried to reason with her on this as my immediate family and friends use Wattpad, and to be honest I just don't like the idea of her using my full name and description out there like that. She called me a piece of crap for trying to restrain her. At this point I was just confused and asked her to call later. We called and she was still mad. Am I the jerk here? Am I the jerk for saying I think babies and kids are gross? A coworker of mine, 26F, was talking about wanting children in a few years and I was just listening without commenting much, when she asked me, 24F, if I wanted to have kids. I replied that I didn't, that me and my partner were just fine and it wasn't in my plans. She insisted on asking me why not, so I told her I'm infertile, which is true, in hopes she would drop it already, but she didn't. She said there were other ways and I could adopt, etc. I was getting annoyed and I told her the biggest reason I don't want kids. They're messy, loud, it grosses me out how easily they throw up, having to clean their faces full of snot because they don't blow their noses and change diapers is what I imagine hell looking like, and the thought of them grabbing stuff with their dirty Cheeto hands makes me gag. I reckon I was a little harsh, but it is truly what I think, and the fact she was being so nosy about such a personal matter did upset me a bit. She got visibly angry and said I was a jerk for hating kids and I was a child too. I said that yes, I obviously was a child at some point, But my parents made the conscious choice of dealing with all of that, and I choose not to. Am I the jerk?